$100 billion.
Not quite $100 billion, but $500 million. It's an amount of money that is hard to comprehend. Yet Star Citizen's funding tracker has just crossed that threshold. It's a huge step for the game, which entered its crowdfunding phase nearly 10 years ago. The behemoth Chris Roberts project stands as two separate games: the online persistent universe of Star Citizen and the still in development and largely ultra-secret Squadron 42, starring Mark Hamill, Gillian Anderson, Gary Oldman, and many more. Now, an update video like this one is always going to attract some controversy. Firstly, because obviously crowdfunding a project to the tune of $500 million is going to gain a lot of attention and raise some questions. Secondly, because people like to talk about Star Citizen's funding. But whether some people feel this is a clickbait video or a chance to cash in on a large topic, the truth remains that $500 million is a major milestone for the project, and it would be completely remiss of me to allow the moment to pass by without talking about it. Right now then, Star Citizen exists as an alpha release, or to be perfectly fair, to all intents and purposes, it is an early access title. The current topics of interest are the game's next big update, patch 3.18. This will include the first step towards making the game truly persistent. The persistent entity streaming technology being developed by CIG is all about creating an environment that is both dynamic and static. That is to say, any objects that a player places within the game will remain in the game, regardless of how small and how seemingly inconsequential those objects are. The latest update from CIG on persistent entity streaming, though, suggests it may not quite work as well as people are hoping, at least not for the initial release. There's some discussion about just how persistent the update will be across various servers, or so-called shards. Now, also in terms of upcoming content, the long-awaited salvaging is also on the way. Now, taking ships apart might not seem like a big deal to some people, but for Star Citizen players, it's a highly desired feature. Not least because CIG have long ago announced ships for the as-yet none-implemented feature. So salvaging, also potentially a part of patch 3.18. Of course, the most anticipated new feature for Star Citizen, though, is the new star system of Pyro, along with all its planets, mission types, and other gameplay loops. Not too long ago, people were hoping that this might arrive at the end of 2022. But now, according to CIG's very own progress tracker, it looks as though Pyro will not arrive before mid-2023 at the very earliest, and with the later half of 2023 being potentially likely. As you can see then, Star Citizen remains a game that exists in a unique twilight zone. It is a game with a strong following thanks to not only its promises, development insights and regular updates, yet paradoxically it's a title that, to all intents and purposes, appears to be in never-ending development, with highly anticipated feature updates constantly over the horizons, forever either late this year or maybe sometime next year. Star Citizen is a paradox, an enigma, a game of huge ambition and success, and a game quite unlike anything else out there, with lofty goals and much already released amazing technology. Just look at those planets and ships. But for many outsiders, cynics, and dare I say it, even proclaimed realists, it's a game that is believed may never truly release, and one that some believe might not ever achieve its ambitions, viewed then by some people as a vast money sink. Maybe then, both sides of this story have some truth to them. Whilst many people could be placed in one camp or perhaps the other based upon their views, it maybe makes more sense to feel that yes, Star Citizen possibly is a vast money pit. On the one hand, it could be seen as a project with closed-door development. After all, where is Squadron 42? When will it be released? Where are the videos on development progress? They don't exist. All we know is what Chris Roberts has told us. Effectively, it will be done when it's done. Time and money don't seem to be a hindrance or a motivator. Meanwhile, for Star Citizen, important tech such as persistent entity streaming, server meshing, and huge updates such as Pyro never seem to materialize. Despite being announced many years ago, some of it as far back as 2016 in fact, along with the occasional vague release dates, they still have not been released and appear to regularly slip to some future date. Sure, they do appear to be getting closer, with some of it arriving maybe within the next few months, but even still, that point still stands. However, with all that said, it would be a complete lie to say that Star Citizen isn't ambitious. It is ambitious. It would also be a lie to say that the project doesn't have amazing development insight. It does have amazing development insight. Regular videos, live streams, updates, trackers, and more give a constant view into what is being worked on. Additionally, the title receives plenty of ongoing updates. What's sure, these updates often come with problems. What game updates don't, right? Ultimately, it's not hard to see why Star Citizen is both praised as a huge success and a source of never-ending controversy and cynicism. 10 years since its announcement, and $500 million later, there is literally nothing else, neither inside nor outside the gaming industry, that compares. The only wonder is that for the most part, attention on this project remains firmly within the realms of gaming. Sure, there's the occasional mainstream media piece, but as yet, it still really hasn't captured the wider imagination nor attention of mainstreaming people, the public, or indeed anything outside of gaming. Maybe $500 million then will be the moment that starts to happen. Or just maybe it will take $1 billion for that to happen. That then brings us to the end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.